All right, guys, I'm back with another video. This is to preview the CJ Cup, which will be this weekend. So this video, I'll recap some previous tournaments and then do a course preview, preview some players, and then give you guys my early picks. Before we get into that, just a reminder, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We'll be putting bets out that we aren't necessarily getting to in this YouTube video, a little closer to like game time or the start of the PGA Tour events. And as the tweet says, keep hammering those locks, 9-2 total. My golf ones are 5-1. And yeah, so before we get into the main part of the video, just a reminder about our partnership with Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy app out on the market right now. And they're running a promo with us. So they'll match your first deposit up to $100 when you use our code PROPICS. I really like Prize Picks because of the value that it offers. Don't find that on any other book, such as like FanDuel or DraftKings. And nice thing about it is that it's legal in states where sports gambling is illegal. So California, Texas, Florida, North Carolina are some of the big ones where you guys should take advantage of Prize Picks and get in on this value. So the built-in promo that we've talked about, the flex play and the power play. So lately what I've been doing is I've been doing a 3-entry flex play so my entries will be 3 guys on the PGA Tour and it'll be their first round projected. So let's say like DJ is projected 67.5 and I'll take his over or his under, and I'll do that with 2 other guys. And I'll do a flex play. So if 2 out of those 3 hit, I get 1.25 times my money back. And then if all 3 hit, I get 2.25 times my money back. But if you're feeling like you're going to hit all 3, use the power play and you'll get 5 times your money. And so definitely take advantage of this. And just remember to use our code PROPICS, which you see right here on the left, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. All right, so let's get into it. Sanderson Farms recap. Went up about 3 units. Pretty good. Wish it went a little better. The lock of the week, Corey Connor's top 20 hit, which was huge. Mito finished 31st, which kind of sucked. As you can see, he's the only guy put 1 unit on to finish top 30, and he finished 31st. So would have been up around more like 5 units if that hit. But not going to complain about a positive weekend, especially when it's almost 3 units. And the unit tracker moved up to 13.5 after that one. And then the Shriners, this one got the best of me. As you can see, Louis Oosthuizen only top 20 is my only bet that hit. First losing weekend in a while. So I think it's okay. Like I learned from this. I took Abraham Answer. I went in on him pretty hard at the top 20 and the top 10, and even made him my lock of the week. So that's the first lock of the week that lost. I just didn't really take into account that he hadn't played golf in a while. Like I think his last real tournament was the Tour Championship. And so that time off just kind of developed some rust, and really he just did not look motivated out there, which was very demoralizing to see. Even more demoralizing was Sungjae him. He ended up winning the whole thing, but I had him round 1 leader, and he was round 1 leader for a while. And then some guy came out of nowhere. Sungjae M ended up finishing 2nd. If that hits, I'm up positive big time on the weekend. Almost had it. So learn from this mistake with the Abe Answer thing and move on and just make some more money in the long run. So the unit tracker's at 11.24. That's over 6 tournaments. I'm not going to complain on averaging 2 units a week through 6 tournaments. So let's keep it going, and hopefully you can make some sharper bets and keep going with this. So this week, the CJ Cup, let's do a course preview. The Summit Club. It's in Las Vegas, Nevada, only like 6 miles away from last week's event. And it's a really cool course, really exclusive too. I think it's like $300,000 initiation fee to get in there, and then $100,000 yearly due. So very elite course. It's the first time a PGA Tour event's being played here. And so I'm excited to see how it works. A little tough with some course analysis considering they've never had an event here. And then so par 72, 7,400 yards, not too long. there are around like 3 drivable par fours. I mean, if you can really hit the ball. So I took that into account with my analysis. Course defense, they don't really have much. So it's large fairways that you can see right here, pretty large greens, like actually relatively large greens. They slope a lot though. And the defense, I think, is just that these greens are going to be super fast, just really fast, just like they were at the Sanderson Farms. And as you can see, it's like desert golf. So if you're really missing this giant fairway pretty badly, you could be in some trouble, like in a cactus or something. So not really way too heavy on accuracy, but it's something to take into account. And then one thing that I use in my analysis, the fact that they're on bent grass greens, see who's historically really good on bent grass greens. And I think this course is they're going to get up to PGA Tour standards and make these greens really, really fast. So past winners, last year, Jason Kokrak, he won it when it was at Shadow Creek. So that was also in Vegas. That was last year. And then the year before that, JT won it. And the year before Brooks won it, JT won it again. And so Brooks won it the year after before JT's second time. And when JT and Brooks won it, JT's both times and Brooks' only time, it was in South Korea. And then with the pandemic, they had to move it to Vegas. And that's when Kokrak won. He went like 20 under. And I really think that's going to happen again. And we'll get into that. But yeah, there's a no-cut event. And so that means there's less players that enter the field, but there's no cut. So those like top 30 odds will be a little less juiced because I think there's only like 56 players in the field. And so that's something that we'll have to take into account when we're looking at our picks. And then, so after I did some course analysis, I mean, it was a little hard with no previous events here. But generally you're going to want to have someone that's really good tee to green with their approach and that driving distance, like I mentioned, with those drivable par fours, and then someone that can get the putter going. I'm looking for someone that just can really sink putts, and maybe not even the most consistent putter, maybe someone that's streaky, like a JT, which I'll get into later, and someone that can just really, really rack up those birdies. And then lastly, look at ball striking. Didn't play too much of a factor considering I just don't know a lot about this course, and no one really does. I've done a lot of research, and no one can tell me a lot about it. One, because of the exclusivity of the course and the fact there hasn't been an event here before. So 4-4 for the CJ Cup. So 4-4, mentioned in my last video. I'm going to preview 4 players that I really like this week and tell you why I like them. So Louis Oosthuizen, like I mentioned in this video, last week he had a very quiet top 14. No one really talked about it. This is his first event in a while. He had an injury at the end of last tour season and didn't really play that much. First event back, tied 14th. Not going to complain. He was really, really good tee to green in that tournament. He was third in the field, only behind Sungjae Im and Roy Sabatini. Sungjae ended up winning it. So Louis is really good there. And like I mentioned in my previous slide, that's my number one metric when I'm looking at that. What was weird though is that even though he's so good tee to green, his putting is where he lost strokes. You don't really see that at Louis Oosthuizen. If you look at the bottom right there, the entire last season, out of everyone in the field, he was the number one putter on tour, number one. So I really think it was just him knocking some rust off. And this week, he's gonna really figure it out. He didn't have to travel to this tournament. He's still in Vegas, got to spend some time knowing the course, and I can see him making a really big push at this tournament. Next, Xander Schauffele. So last year he finished second in this tournament. He had a crazy push on Sunday, went super low, and I really think that he's going to do well again. So last year was at Shadow Creek, not the same course, but that's also in Vegas. Schauffele plays in Vegas a ton. Like that's where his like home course is. So he knows the lay of the land really well there. And I think that's going to benefit him. He's coming off the Ryder Cup victory. Hopefully he's not rocking a crazy hangover coming off that, considering that giant bottle of champagne. But he did putt really well and hit a lot of clutch shots in the Ryder Cup. So hopefully he continues that. And then one thing to look at, all of last season, he was 5th in the tour. So strokes gained total. Who went the lowest in the entire season on average? Xander was up there. I think he's so in control of his game, his irons, his putting. He's just super accurate, and I really think that that's going to play well here, especially when on those approach shots they start sinking those putts and moving up that leaderboard. Next, Sam Burns. Sam Burns off to a fire start this season. So he's first in tee to green in this 2022 season. And like I mentioned before, that's my number one metric going in this week. So I'm feeling really good about Sam Burns. Only concern is his fatigue. So he started off the season, won the first event, second event. So he won the Sanderson Farms. Second event was the Shriners. Going into Sunday, he had the lead in the entire tournament. No one, I don't think I've ever seen anyone win back-to-back tournaments. So I luckily took Sungjae Saturday night because I was like, I don't really know who else on this leaderboard will make that push. I could see Sam Burns really not doing this twice in a row. I mean, winning 2 events, I haven't seen anyone do it. So I think it was just fatigue. Like he didn't go super low on Sunday, just wasn't rolling in those putts. I mean, after 7 insanely hot rounds, the 8th one was due to just not be amazing. I think he shot maybe 1 under. But if you look at it, strokes gained total this entire season, he's also tied 3rd. So he's been playing really well, pounding the ball off the tee. He's like one of the most longest and accurate at the same time players on the tour. So I'm looking for him to take advantage of those short par 4s and make some early birdies, especially in that first round. And I'll get to that later. My last guy on the Fore For Four, JT. So Justin Thomas coming off that Ryder Cup. I mean, he didn't play amazing, but one thing that really stood out to me was the putter. It got going again. One thing that he was kind of missing at the end of the last season. And when it gets going, he's really good. So if you look at the 2021 PGA Tour stats, he was 3rd in strokes gained tee to green, which, again, my number one metric. And then his approach is just so good. There's going to be a ton of shots within 100 yards, 125 yards. And he's just so good in that area. And if he can get that putter rolling, I'm really, really looking forward to him playing this weekend. And I really think he's going to do well. And then my biggest thing about JT, he always has some super lofty goals. He's super hard on himself, always wants to be the best at what he does. He was on a podcast the other week, and he said he's shooting for 6 wins in this season. 6 wins. That's unreal. And I think that his lofty goals have led him to come out really strong on the first tournament. So this is the results of his first tournament of each of the past 6 seasons. Tied 8th, tied 4th, tied 5th, tied 17th, tied 8th, tied 3rd. So only 1 finish outside of the top 10 and 3 inside the top 5. So he just wants to come out and make a statement. And I'm really looking forward to that this week. And he's going to have his head down and just hopefully get that putter hot. And so let's move into the early picks and wrap it up here. So round 1 leader, I've mentioned this before. I mean, this is one of the best bets I think you can get your hands on. Round 1 leader is the juiced odds of like a Super Bowl winner. I mean, I think the Chiefs had less odds than this to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. So, and then you figure it out in one day. I've won on this bet multiple times. It feels great. The payout's just unreal. And so I've won on Sam Burns, and I've mentioned why I think he's going to go really low. The driving distance and the accuracy combined. He's notorious for going low in the first round as well. And then Louis Oosthuizen mentioned why I really think he's going to do well this year. And this week specifically, hopefully he brings that putter back to the number 1 putter on tour and just keeps up what he's doing, what he did last week with his game tee to green. Aaron Wise, a sneaky play here. Definitely also shop around these lines. I found Aaron Wise at plus 5,500 on Barstool, which was the best odds I could find. But like Sam Burns on Barstool was only like plus 2,800. So shop around these lines, find the best value. This was the best I could find when I was putting this together. Aaron Wise been playing really well. I think he fits this course really well. And I've seen him finish round one leader before. So that's one thing I liked. Another thing I liked about it is that it's the round one leader is notorious for being an early tee time. And Aaron Wise has an early tee time. And I really like that. So I only put 0.1 unit on it just because it was very long shot odds, but I could see it happening. Top 10, JT and Xander, mentioned why. Xander, a little hesitant on, I think, like I mentioned before, the Abraham Answer thing coming off an extended period of not playing can hurt some guys, depending they haven't played competitive golf in a while. I don't think this will happen to Xander, but I just put 0.5 units on it. JT, I put the whole unit on just because of his finishing 5 in his first event in the past 6 years. 5 out of those 6 years, he's finished top 10. And that's why I doubled down on these guys for top 20. And that's why JT's my lock of the week to finish top 20 at minus 175. And then I also took Louis Oosthuizen too. I already profiled him. I won on him last week at top 20. So I think it's going to happen again. And then so two other guys I want to look at were HV3 and Alex Noren. HV3 played really well at the end of the last season. And I actually mentioned him in my last video. And when I took him top 30, and he ended up going super low, I think he finished 11th and he was plus money at top 30. I could see him doing it again. He fits this course really well. And then Alex Noren, name you don't hear that often, but he is either a top 10 or a miscut guy. So like at the end of the last season, he was top 10 in like 4 events. And then like in 6-span stretch, he was also missed 2 of those cuts. So it was like, it's a super weird no cut event. I want to take my odds on him, take my chances with him to finish top 30. And hopefully we can just keep going up this week. And remember to follow the Twitter. I might post some updates based on other things I see, other research that I do. But yeah, so if you guys like this video and the content that I'm putting out, like and subscribe. Give me some feedback in the comments. Really want to tailor these videos to our subscribers and let us know what you guys like. And let's keep making money. Golf unit tracker up 11 units. And I'm really excited to keep it going. Hopefully we can get that average up to move it up past 2 units a tournament. And yeah, so let's make some money this week. And remember to shop around those lines.